Oh, yeah. It's finally Friday, folks. Arizona takes on Akron in less than 30 minutes. Me and Damon are about to preview the matchup one last time and get everybody hype for Arizona's round of 64 matchup. It's the AZ Wildcats pregame show. Don't you go anywhere.
Ooh! You feel that, Kevin?
Yeah, I feel that.
Turn that music up. Turn that music up a little bit. Welcome in to the AZ Wildcats pre-game show tournament edition, Kevin, and it means everything.
It means everything, Damon Dog.
It is Friday, the second day of the NCAA tournament, the best time in the sports calendar year. And I will say, though, Kevin, there's one thing, and I brought this up to you the other day. Being one of the later games on Friday in the first round is a difficult spot to be in as a fan because we just have to, fester, sit there all yesterday, all today, watch all these games happen, watch these upsets happen, and just, sit there and just wait on our team to come out and play, Kevin. And yeah, it's a little bit antagonizing, I would say, but finally ready to get this thing underway.
Man, I've been ready all week, Damon. I feel like you and I have been talking about the damn Akron Zips for
we have
12 years.
Longer than we've talked about any opponent.
Longer than any
sure.
Akron fan has ever spoken about Akron basketball. Damon and I have spoken about Akron basketball this week. That is not to discount Akron, though. It is not, Damon. Akron is they're a damn good team for the MAC. They're one of the best teams the MAC has to offer. But we believe, and I think we're not crazy to say this, the Big 12 is a drastic step up from the MAC, Damon. And Arizona should have no problems, as Haley here says in the chat, putting belts to ass today, Damon Dog. And if they do,
love it.
If they do, we will be here on the postgame show probably freaking the hell out because there's no world where Arizona, if they play to their capabilities today, lose to the Akron Zips, Damon. Do you see it the same way?
I do indeed, Kevin. I think that this team is too talented, too physical, in particular for this Akron Zips team. Akron, one of the smallest teams in all of Division I. We talked about it on yesterday's show, Kevin. Their two main big men, 6'7", their backup 6'8". Henry Vasar should be able to eat on these guys. Our guards should be able to penetrate and finish over top of, smaller big men, smaller front court players, Kevin, that are going to affect the shot at a less, valuable level than Big 12 big men we're always going to, and they have been used to seeing all season long, right? So I think from a physicality standpoint, Arizona just has to put it on Akron, let them know, kind of bully them, right? Like show them that they don't belong out on the court with us because they are not the same level of athletes as us. And I think that's the game plan for Arizona if we're really simplifying it to one very micro level, Kevin.
I'm totally with you on that, Damon Dog. And as we already discussed on our live show this week, this is the Akron Zips as they are currently constituted. Their stats in this season via KenPom, obviously one of the best teams in the MAC. They did complete a huge comeback, actually, in the championship game of the MAC tournament to win that game by 2 points and be not only regular season champs, but also conference champs, a la, great value Houston in that way, Damon. Top 100 offense, top 200 defense, one of the fastest paced teams in the nation, and one of the lowest tested teams at 277th strength of schedule, Damon Dog. And I kind of want to throw this to you and talk a little bit about that tempo piece. Some people in our comments section after our last stream were, some people were agreeing with Corey Williams, great Arizona Wildcat, that, hey, Akron's probably going to have to slow this game down, decrease the number of possessions to increase their chance of winning this game. Some people see it differently. There are people, Arizona fans out there that think Akron might kick up the pace, really try to outpace Arizona, but not from we think we can outrun Arizona. But I think that some people are saying Akron believes that they can outshoot Arizona if they have enough possessions to get enough shots up. Damon Dog, because what Arizona lacks is that 3-point defensive consistency on guys that are hot, right? And so if one of the guys on Akron, if it's Nate Johnson, if it's T Johnson, if one of those guys can go in, Isaiah Gray, then maybe Arizona, will have a bit more of a challenge. But like you alluded to, Damon, Arizona is better than Akron 1 through 10 from a talent perspective, and it just feels like, we're not trying to overlook Akron. We've really tore Akron down to the studs here. But if Arizona plays their game, there is no way that Akron should be able to defeat them. Damon, what do you think about that tempo? Do you think what do you expect in 24 minutes now? Is Akron going to try to speed up Arizona, try to have it be a shootout, or are we about to see a slow down, drag them out brawl?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, you mentioned what Corey said. Like, he thinks that they just have to switch up their game plan. And does that look clunky? Does that look bad? Is Akron a significantly worse team playing a completely different style than they have all season long, Kevin? I think that's a genuine question that they have to ask themselves in preparation for this game. So, I even if they do try to slow it down, I have a feeling that it's just not going to look very pretty. I don't think that Akron is, versatile enough of a team to be able to switch up their play style, like chameleon style, for whoever they're playing against, Kevin. So if that is the case, I hope Arizona takes advantage of, a kind of a team that's rusty playing that way. If they do want to speed it up and run with Arizona, then that's, where I get straight back to just, you got to out physical them. It really is that simple, because this team likes to run. We know this team likes to run as well. But this team is also tall. This team also has a lot of length. This team is also extremely athletic. So those are your advantages over the Akron Zips, right? When you look at that team. And one thing that you did hit on, Kevin, that I wanted to talk about a little bit further, and it might not hurt us in this game. We'll see. I think it's possible one of the Johnson brothers. Akron is a fairly deep team, and they there's a chance that they have somebody who's just a straight shooter that gives Arizona a lot of problems today. But it does feel like, kind of the kryptonite for this team has been allowing one guy to just hit 6 3-pointers every game, and in the tournament. I think that's a pretty bad problem to have, because that's when, tough shot makers really shine, Kevin. That's when, every year we remember, the guards that hit the toughest shots at the end of games, right? Like, that's what carries you through an NCAA tournament. So I'm sitting here and I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, that I hope that problem doesn't rear its ugly head, because I think that could spell the end of Arizona's season. Although I don't really think that it's going to happen here against Akron in round 1.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, Damon. And also when you look at Akron's roster, they really don't have like a high volume, high percentage 3-point shooter. They have a bunch of guys that can make the three, but none of the guys that really have you on the scouting report saying, hey, we have to make sure that so-and-so can't get going from beyond the arc. Mm-hmm. So I think that, honestly, again, that additionally adds into the matchup advantages for Arizona in this game, that Akron, while they might have some, capable 3-point threats, they don't have that guy that can really put your lights out on paper from 3, and is yet to be seen if it's borne out on the court. But that's what you see when you look at Akron on paper. And I think Haley in the chat brings up a good question here. Do you guys think that Akron will throw a zone at Arizona? They haven't really played zone much this season.
I think they have to.
I do expect them to eventually be forced into some sort of zone, but the crux of that issue is it's tough to rebound out of a zone, and you're already a tiny team, and Arizona already has the size and strength and skill and speed advantage. So are you going to really put yourself on the back burner when Akron, they've done a decent job this season at out-rebounding teams in the MAC, but that's not the Big 12. And so I think, Damon, that if Akron were to throw a zone at Arizona, which, I mean, to the credit of the zone, it might not be the most elite defense, but Tommy Lloyd teams have struggled with zone in the past.
Yep.
But I don't think that this would be an issue for Arizona if they threw a zone at the Wildcats, mostly because of how difficult it is to rebound out of a zone. And I think that Akron is just not sizable enough to overcome that discrepancy there, Damon. What do you think about the zone comment?
Yeah, I love that. I love that analysis, Kevin. I think that they will throw a zone at Arizona, because I think that they're going to try to throw up, switch up the looks that they show Arizona. And as you mentioned, like, Tommy Lloyd teams have struggled in the past with it. I think that'll only exacerbate the need for the size to come through if they do throw a zone at us, Kevin. I think, the big men have to step up even more so. And on top of that, I think that those guards penetrating and getting to the hoop, I think is that much more important as well, because I really don't think Arizona is going to break the zone by shooting the lights out. Like, that's not going to be the game plan. It shouldn't be the game plan, at least. And we've talked about it, Kevin. Like, there's should be a little bit of a mentality switch, I think, from this team, and kind of the high volume threes and taking a step back there. So, I don't think that the way to working out of the zone is going to be shooting. I do think that it is going to be, being able to get to the rim, being able to penetrate, second chance points, offensive rebounds, pick and rolls. Like, that's kind of where you have to live, I think. And that's where I hope Arizona lives. And I think that you just kind of got to outmuscle a team like Akron at the end of the day. It really is that simple.
You really do have to flex your muscle, Damon, and you really have to dominate this basketball game. Our guy Javier says it in the chat that Arizona had better win this game. And it's true,
Very
right?
true.
It's not a must win from a scenario of, you absolutely have to have this game for proving something to someone, right? But this is a must win from the standpoint of, obviously, you're one and done from here on out. You either win or you're going home. Right, and I think that no matter who you face, whether it's
deeper
Akron,
than that, though, Kevin.
No, but I'm saying whether it's Akron, whether it's Buffalo, whether it's Princeton, whether it's like I don't care, Kent State. I don't really care who it's against. You have to come out here and you have to dominate in this first matchup. Because Corey said it when we had him on the other day. He said a lot of very sage things in there as well. But I think one thing that he really said that stuck out to me is this is important for the players as well. You don't want this game to be a struggle, because then you're going into the next game against either Oregon, who you've had fights with in the past in the Pac-12, or Liberty, who is another unknown that maybe analytically might give you some trouble. Now you're going into that game thinking, oh no, it's about to be another slog. Oh man, we couldn't even dominate Akron. Now we really got to force the issue to dominate against these other teams. I think it's important for all parties involved to just come out here and put Akron to bed in those first 10 minutes. Do not let them survive that first 10 minutes. And I think that if Arizona can do that, they'll be well on their way to building a huge amount of confidence going into the rest of this tournament, Damon Dog.
Yeah, Kevin, I think I want to touch on that for a second. What happens if Arizona loses this game? Because I do think that it's a conversation that needs to be had. I know kind of a inkling of what your role would be on the postgame show, Kevin, and what my role would be. And no, I'm just saying, like, I think you'd be a little bit more forgiving, and I think I would be a little bit more doomsday Damon about it.
Hard to forgive losing if Arizona, Lord forbid, in the year of our Lord 2025, if they were to be upset by Akron, right? But no, I think
it's hot seat stuff.
Yeah,
I do, and I love Tommy Lloyd, and I love Tommy Lloyd. I'm a soldier in his army, but you can't lose two first round matchups in 3 years, Kevin. You can't do that. Yes, it's simply put. And I think Arizona fans are fed up. They're ready for a deep tournament run. It's been 10 years since Arizona fans have seen an Elite Eight, Kevin, and it's far too long. So I think that I don't necessarily think people expect an Elite Eight, because you got to get past Duke to get there, and that's not the expectation. Beating the number one net rating team in the history of college basketball is kind of a tough expectation, I'd say, Kevin. But I think in general, you can't lose to a team that you're better than on paper. That's something that Tyler Warden was saying in the spaces on Monday, and something that I wholeheartedly agree with. Like, if I'm looking at a team like Akron, I'm looking at a team like Liberty, even a team like Oregon to an extent, I'm like, Arizona's just flat out better than these teams, and they need to prove it, because I know it's single elimination. I know it's hard. I know this is why this is the toughest tournament to win in pretty much all of sports, right? That being said, you just gotta find the way, man. And I think that this team is built to do so. I do believe in this roster. I think that this team is tougher mentally. I think that they're tougher physically. I think they're battle tested. And I think that they have what it takes to make a deep tournament run. But also, as an Arizona fan, I think in the back of my head, I'm always just gonna be a little bit scared. Like, hey, we got to handle business when it comes to game time.
I feel like hot seat for Tommy Lloyd if he loses this game might be a tinge out there, but I think that there are some legitimate criticisms that would need to be levied in his direction if he were to lose this game, because this would be an unacceptable loss on his resume, and it would not be the only one on his resume, right, Damon? So I think there would be some serious criticisms that would need to be levied against Tommy Lloyd if he were to choke away this game, Damon.
If he loses to Oregon, I'm not saying hot seat.
I think hot seat is a bit, because again, it goes back to my thing of like, who are you going to go get?
I don't know, but this would be unforgivable.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, I think like it would be and we could talk about it if it were to happen. We could flesh it out over the course of the offseason if it were to happen. But my reaction wouldn't be hot seat. I feel like that would be a bit too reactive. I would love to maybe see if there was someone on the market that, hey, if you're saying, hey, he's on the hot seat, then the next step would be, let's go get who? You know what I mean? Because it can't just be, we're going to give up Tommy Lloyd for nothing if he loses this game. You know what I mean, Damon Dog? So I'm with you that it would be serious red flags. Very much panic button might be getting pressed. But I don't know if I'd be ready to hot seat him after that one.
There's a lot of Arizona fans that'd be willing to say, they're saying
but there
much
are also
more
a
than
lot of
hot
Arizona
seat
fans that every time we lose are already ready to get him out of here. So
I know, but that's why I think that me saying it should hold a little bit more weight, because I have not done that once this entire season long. Haven't even mentioned it, Kevin. But I think that this would truly be unacceptable, because there is such a thing as momentum within a program, right? If you had asked Arizona fans after 2015, when Sean Miller had 3 Elite Eights in 5 years or 6 years or whatever it was, would Sean Miller make a Final Four? Every single one of us would have said yes, 100%. That being said, like, as the years continued to dwindle and Arizona choked a Sweet 16 game against Xavier up 15 with 5 minutes left, and you know what I mean? Like, it felt like slowly the program was starting to slip, and the idea of that pinnacle of making the Final Four was just not realistic at all. And I think that if you continually lose early in tournaments, it gets to a point where you lose all momentum that you have with this team. And like Tommy Lloyd came in, it was about as good of a year one as you could possibly ever have, Kevin. We won like 30 games with a number 2 overall seed in the tournament. Like, it was incredible. And then he ran into the most underseeded team in the history of college basketball in Houston. But after that, it's been disappointment in the tournament. And I think that it can't be 3 straight years of disappointment in the tournament. You have to change the trend here. Have to.
I'm with you. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying you or Javier are crazy for wanting Lloyd to be on the hot seat. I think I'm like, if you guys are here, I think I might be like right here behind you on that next step, right? If he were to lose this game, I don't think that Tommy Lloyd is your first head coaching job being the Arizona job is a crazy spot to be in. You've been given a Lambo and you better not crash it, right? And you're saying
your expectations are high.
Yes, exactly. I'm not trying to excuse that, but I'm just trying to paint the picture of like maybe not this one putting him on the hot seat, but I do think next year that would be everything for him at that point.
Well, that's
right?
why I said hot seat. Yeah,
I think hot seat is I don't know. Now we're arguing semantics at that point, right? But
I'm not saying hot seat as in he's going to get fired this offseason. I'm saying hot seat as in like the seat is getting warm. And now the pressure is really on, because if you go into next year's tournament and you lose in the first 2 rounds again, all of a sudden you're getting fired.
Yeah.
You've done that 3 out of 4 seasons or whatever, with the one season that you didn't do that being a Sweet 16 loss to a Clemson team that didn't even belong on the same court as you. So I think, that's what I mean by hot seat. I don't mean necessarily he's getting fired. I just mean that, like, the possibility of that is definitely opening up if he does lose today. And then, it's basically all or nothing the next year, in my opinion. But I agree with you to the statement of, like, who would you replace him with? Obviously, that's a difficult conversation. He's a great coach.
He would be swooped up within the hour after you fire him.
Yeah, he would. And rightfully so. But there's also such a thing as, like, like right place, wrong time.
Yeah, definitely.
Wrong place. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, I definitely do.
If he did get swooped up, I think he'd be extremely successful elsewhere. But it's, I just think that at Arizona, if you're just going to continually lose in the early parts of the tournament, like, that's just the momentum aspect of things are going to get broken down there. But again, Kevin, like, don't expect that today. I think Arizona takes care of business. I think we just have to play devil's advocate and do the whole what if scenario there, because it really is like kind of the biggest talking point of this game. Because if Arizona wins this game, what are we saying? Oh, Arizona handled business. They did what they're supposed to do. Who do we want tomorrow? Oregon or Liberty, right? Like, that's kind of the mentality of, in our post-game show, post W. Post L, the sky is falling, brother. The sky is literally falling. So it's like you're kind of, that's the thing about the tournament, right? Is like the big teams have all the pressure on them, and the smaller teams have none of it. And how do you manage that? How do you balance that? We'll see.
We will see, Damon. And one thing that Arizona is going to have to do, like you said, they're going to have to just dominate this basketball game. And if you look at Akron's weaknesses, there are some roots to dominating this game for Arizona. Like I said, we covered
All
this.
things Arizona is
Exceptional
elite at. Yeah.
Yeah, these are actually all three of Arizona's biggest pros, if you really think about it from a X's and O's and just breaking it down to the brass tacks standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Big 12 strength of schedule for Arizona, huge plus. Arizona, one of the best free throw shooting teams in Arizona history. In the height and size, Arizona can go toe to toe with any team in the country in terms of tail of the tape, Damon. So the weaknesses are even exacerbated by the fact that Arizona is just exceptional in the areas that Akron is deficient in, and even the ones that Akron are proficient in, these are their strengths. Arizona might even outduel them in some of these as well. I know the statistically, Arizona runs a slower tempo than Akron.
Not by much.
But like Corey said on our pod the other day, running in the MAC is different than running in the Big 12 with the physicality that the Big 12 offers.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different to box at a high pace at heavyweight than it is to box at featherweight, right? So I feel like that fast tempo thing might be a little bit overblown, but that is to note that if Arizona was to speed it up, Akron is still comfortable in a fast-paced game, Damon. So I think, not to discount their fast tempo, but I think Arizona can match their fast tempo in this game. The perimeter shooting is the one that I think Arizona can't match with this one. Akron has the potential to just put up a bunch of threes, and they shoot the three ball very efficiently. They shoot the two very efficiently as well. Just a very efficient shooting team are the Akron Zips. And depth, I think this is another spot that Arizona can match Akron in as well, Damon Dog. So when you look at the strengths and weaknesses, what kind of stands out to you for the Akron Zips as we kind of overline this on our podcast, but when we're breaking down this game, now that we're just, less than 10 minutes away, Damon Dog, how are we feeling?
Amped up, ready to go, nervous though a little bit, but I think one of the things that maybe we've touched on all of this so much, right, Kevin? We've talked about it. Like, we've been talking about Akron for longer than we've been talking about Arizona at this point. But that being said, I think that the one thing that we've maybe under talked about is the free throws. And Akron is a team that is not really getting to the free throw line. They're getting to the free throw line at an extremely low rate for a team of their caliber. Arizona, on the other hand, gets to the free throw line a lot. Is top 100 in the country in getting to the free throw line, free throw rate. And they make an extremely high percentage of them. I think Arizona has to win this free throw discrepancy by about 15 free throws, Kevin, minimum. Like, it has to be that drastic because, you're going to have to, with the size advantage, put them under the basket, force them to make fouls on you, penetrate, force them to foul to stop you from, Caleb Love or Jaden Bradley from, kind of gliding, flying to the basket like they do, which I think is, probably this team. It might be this team's most elite trait is the ability of their three guards to just fly to the basket, Kevin, because when they get going downhill, they're really hard to stop. But I just think you have to force them to foul you, force them to guard you, force them, to contend under the rim. And that's kind of, a strength of Arizona's and a weakness of Akron's that I think, Arizona really has to build off of in this game.
Yeah, Damon, I think you are on it with that. Corey Williams also alluded to that as well in your answer when you were talking about how make Akron guard you one-on-one. Make Akron's players prove that they're on the same level as you, right? You know what I mean? Like, once they get that switch or once they do whatever they got to do defensively with their schemes, break it down to a one-on-one. This is a game where you can play a little bit of ISO ball, right, Damon? This is a game where if things slow down, Caleb Love can kind of ISO at his matchup. Jaden Bradley should be able to ISO his matchup.
I really
as well.
hope we don't have to get there though.
No,
Kevin.
but my point was though, there is not a player on Arizona's roster that can't beat their man off the dribble in this matchup, right, Damon? I think that like you alluded to, right? You just got to make Akron defend you because you're better than them, right? You are able to break down every single one of their players with somewhat ease, so you should be able to do that. So I'm not saying that it should come down to. I'm not saying it should come down to hero ball or come down to ISO ball, but I'm saying play in, play out. Arizona has the guys that can go get a bucket when they need it against a team like Akron.
I'll tell you what, Kevin, there is a panic button in my office. If we are in a situation where we're going ISO ball for ISO ball with Akron late in this game, the panic button will in fact be right next to me on the table, staring me right in the face. That is a fact.
Yes. Well, Damon, before we get out of here, let's real quick talk what really matters to you and I the most. One thing me and Damon can for sure agree on are gambling. And I think that, Damon, I'm not sure what your plays are today. I am on Arizona spread and the under today. I think the pace gets kind of ticked down a little bit.
Big over.
Huge number. You for that to hit, Akron would pretty much have to score like 75 plus.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is like, do we really think that's going to happen if Arizona's going to win this game and put belt to ass like we think they could? So I'm on Arizona and the under today, Damon. What are you on? Are you on the same wavelength as me?
I like that underplay. I might toss a little extra right now before the game starts on that. I am on, Kevin, with our friends at Bet365. I am on Arizona to win both halves at -165. How do we feel about that?
I love that, Damon.
Doesn't that feel
I think that's a safe play.
A little too good to be true?
It feels like a safe play, and it feels like the correct play. Because if Arizona wins this game, it's not going to be a situation where they're down at the half and they have to come back in the second half. Honestly, if that happens, I think Arizona just loses flat out.
I mean, all they have to do is simply score more points than Akron in both halves.
Not shocking to me, Damon. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think
that's my play for the
day. That's a good play.
Yeah.
That's a good play. Well, if you are watching this game, I'm sure all of you in the chat will be watching this game. Me and Damon will be doing a watch along for this game going up shortly into the first half as this game tips off here in 3 minutes. So, Damon, unless you have anything else to get off your chest for this preview show, Damon and I are going to go get ready for this watch along. And I'm excited for this game, Damon. It's the first day of March Madness for us, Damon.
Journey begins, Kevin. I wore my national championship hat. We're bringing the good vibes. If we win today, probably wearing it every game day the entire rest of the tournament, Kevin, just to get some good vibes going. Also, did a playoff stash for the Big 12 tournament. Didn't say anything about it. Considered kind of getting on that train again, Kevin, for this. Figured, we made it to the championship, but we lost. So let's just throw those vibes out the window. No playoff stash. Let's just be better than the other team. It's that simple.
Let's do it.
It's that simple. It's as simple as this. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, go over to our watch along stream and go wait in there. Kevin and I are going to watch the game with you guys. So make sure you're locked in. Like I said, subscribe to the channel, have the notifications on. Of course, we're going to be live. If you don't want to be there for the watch along, all good. We're going to be live 15 minutes post game, final buzzer, to talk about win or lose, what happens with the Arizona Wildcats. I am Damon Dog. That's DAWG. He is Kevo Post. That's KEVOPOSTS. We are at PHNX_Wildcats on Twitter. Follow us. Bear down. Let's get a W here, and let's hopefully this journey is a long one. And this is just the start of a beautiful end of a season here for the Arizona Wildcats. Kevin, I am Damon Fairall. He is Kevin Thomas. We will see you on a watch-along and post-game show for Arizona versus Akron. Until then, peace. Bear down.
Go Cats. Put Akron in a body bag and zip them up that way.
We all silly like the mayor.